Hare Krishna. Somebody can please lead the invocation prayers.
Hare Krishna. Om Anyane Timirandasya Jnananjana Salukya Sakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavistam Sthavidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruve Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Samsa Shri Rupam Sagarajitam Saga Gana Raghunandavitam Tamsa Jivam Sat Satvaitam Dudam Varingyana Sachitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saha Jana Lalita Shri Vishagam Cha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sude Devi Pranam Yami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyacha Kripa Sindhu Priya Ivacha Patitana Pavana Viyo Vaishnava Viyo Namo Namaga Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaurava Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. So today we will cover Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24. We'll see how much verses we can cover today. Let's begin with you all explaining one or more points from before and asking one or more questions from before.
Hare Krishna. Can I explain about the homework you gave to us?
Yeah, Prabhu, go ahead.
Yeah, it was about the ideal of a household wife. The number first question. It is if chosen the life like Lord Shiva, and where the Parvati Devi, alias Bhavani, has chosen Lord Shiva without any second thought, and the wife dependent on him, or the husband, and shares devotional service. The reciprocational love between them, that is the husband and wife, is ideal for householders. Right? This understanding, and where it is also with an example of Devahuti was a daughter of emperor, but still accept Kadama Muni as husband as a chaste, faithful one. Every woman expected to be like Devahuti. This is what understanding.
Okay, very good.
Prabhuji, I would like to share my realization. The ideal householder's life is based on husband being a Vaishnava who constantly meditates upon the Lord, also with lots of character, chaste, purity of mind and body, having sense control, speaks positive, sweet words, and working diligently. Husband being a Vaishnava, the wife shares the devotional service of the husband since she renders him service. Life becomes perfect by reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife, which is the ideal householder's life. Would you like me to share the second one also?
A very good point for the first one. Anybody wants to talk about the next question or anything else?
Prabhuji, the main concern of Kardama Muni was Krishna consciousness. Even if one is entrapped in the household life, one should realize that spiritual realization is important to you. An
Yeah,
association with materialistic people leads to entanglement in this material world, but devotee association leads to liberation. Hare Krishna.
okay, very good point.
Prabhuji, would you like me to say this? Carry on.
One more point, Prabhuji, what I would like to do. When you become a devotee, there is nothing is impossible to attain.
Okay, very good. Uncle can continue.
What should be understood by the example of Kardama Muni preparing to leave the house? My realization is finish all the commitments of household affairs and focus on spiritual realization. Being Krishna conscious, main focus should be devotional service and not captured by the control of household life. Hare Krishna.
Okay, very good. Correct points. Everybody provided very good points. Anybody has anything else to speak, inquire? No inquiries? Everybody should speak something or the other. Shivangi?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I was reading this chapter and my question from last week, I think, was answered. So,
Yeah.
Kardama Muni, he does get all his daughters married before he leaves. So, just want to point
Okay,
that
very
out.
good. Yeah, very good. Plus, Shivangi's other question about Kardama Muni as the instructing spiritual master of Devahuti will also get answered in around verse number 5. We'll discuss that. Dipanshu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question. Did Kardama Muni met Kapil Dev, or he just left the house before he was born?
He did meet Kapila Dev. He spoke to Kapila Dev, offered prayers, which is there in this chapter 24. And Kapila Dev also asked for permission to leave. All that discussion is there in chapter 24.
Kapil Muni was born like a grown-up child already, or like?
Yeah, very good point. It's one of the discussion today that
Okay,
there is no childhood pastime of Lord Kapila. Kapila was born as a grown-up sage. So that's a discussion we'll be having today.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Anybody else? Shivangi?
Prabhuji, is Kapila Muni, is he a direct avatar of Krishna, or is he like a Shakti Avisha avatar?
Lord Kapila is a direct incarnation of Krishna. Again, it's going to be our today's discussion in one of the verses. But yes, he's the direct incarnation of Krishna.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Very good. All of you reading ahead of time with
Prabhuji,
keen
this
eye.
pastime is before Narsimha Avatar or after that?
Before, that's okay, let me think. So this is before Narsimha Avatar.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Because this is at the start. No, hold on, wait a minute. In the previous chapter, we had Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha take birth. Let me think, I'm thinking it loud. Yeah, so in the previous chapter, it was only Hiranyaksha, the younger brother that got killed by Varahadev, and Hiranyakashipu is still alive, and the Narsimhadev's pastime will come later. So Kapiladev's pastime is before Narsimhadev.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So let's start Canto 3, Chapter 24. So Canto 3, Chapter 24 is titled The Renunciation of Kardama Muni, is divided into 7 parts. Part 1, verses 1 to 4, Kardama instructs Devahuti. Part 2, verses 5 to 9, the appearance of Lord Kapila. Part 3, verses 10 to 19, Brahmaji glorifies Kardama, Devahuti, and Lord Kapila. Part 4, verses 20 to 25, departure of Brahmaji and marriage of 9 daughters. Part 5, verses 26 to 34, Kardama Muni's prayers to Lord Kapila. Part 6, verses 35 to 40, response of Lord Kapila to Kardama Muni. Part 7, verses 41 to 47, Kardama's renunciation and attainment of the kingdom of Godhead. Everybody got the parts?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So the context of this chapter 24 is the appearance of Lord Kapila is described. So Lord Kapila is an expansion of Krishna. The first 4 verses, Kardama Muni instructs Devahuti because Devahuti said in the previous chapter towards the end that Devahuti wasted her life. Devahuti should have used Kardama Muni's association for self-realization. Hence, Kardama Muni is pacifying Devahuti, and Kardama Muni said that Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear in your womb and he will deliver you. Then Brahmaji also appears, and Brahmaji is very pleased with Kardama Muni's activities. Brahmaji said to Kardama Muni that you completely fulfilled my order. Brahmaji also predicts the future and the activities of the Lord. That Lord will appear to teach Sankhya philosophy, and that Kardama Muni and Devahuti will also go back home to Godhead. Now Kardama Muni is going to take the path of renunciation in the presence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains various reasons as to why. And Srila Prabhupada also explains. We'll discuss this towards the end of this chapter. Shivangi, verse 1 and 2 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 1. Recalling the words of Lord Vishnu, the merciful sage Kadama replied as follows to Swayambhava Manu's praiseworthy daughter Devahuti, who was speaking words full of renunciation. Text 2. The sage said, "Do not be disappointed with yourself, O princess. You are actually praiseworthy. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son." Hare Krishna.
There's a direct answer to Shivangi's question. Verse number 2 clearly says that Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear in Devahuti's womb. So Kardama Muni encouraged Devahuti here that don't be sorry, because Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to appear in your womb and he is going to deliver you. Chandran Prabhu, verse 3 translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Verse 3 translation. You have undertaken sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence, you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, religious observances, austerities, and gifts of your money in charity. Text 4. The personality of God.
Verse 3 purport.
Purport. In order to spiritually advance or to achieve the mercy of the Lord, one must be self-controlled in the following manner. He must be restrained in sense gratification and must follow the rules and regulations of religious principles. Without austerity and penance and without sacrificing one's riches, one cannot achieve the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Kardama Muni advised his wife, you have to factually engage in devotional service with austerity and penance, following the religious principles and giving charity. Then the Supreme Lord will be pleased with you and he will come as your son. Text 4.
Hold on. So if you want mercy of the Lord, then one should purify his wealth, should give charity for Krishna conscious activities. Very important point explained here by Kardama Muni. He says that you have done austerities. He's saying this to Devahuti. But still you have to continue your sadhana. This is a very important lesson in this chapter for all of us. So Kardama Muni already blessed Devahuti. Kardama Muni already blessed Devahuti that whatever I have achieved, you will also get. Still, Kardama Muni is saying to Devahuti that still you continue your sadhana. This is an important lesson, that there is no full stop for us in performing our sadhana. We have to continue our sadhana. Even after attaining perfection, we have to continue our sadhana. Even after attaining spiritual world, we have to continue our sadhana. And Srila Prabhupada has said in some lectures that if you hold my dhoti, I will take you to spiritual world. So this is only for encouragement that Prabhupada will take us no matter what. But by this Prabhupada statement, we should not become complacent in our practice of sadhana. We should continue sadhana with determination. And and spiritual master will always instruct to continuously endeavor on sadhana with faith. Questions, comments, realizations on an important lesson in this chapter?
Prabhuji, before this you said, I want you to clarify that Kardama Muni told Devahuti that you have wasted your life. That means the previous life, isn't it?
So Kardama Muni did not say that. Devahuti herself said that she wasted, and it's not the previous life, it is Devahuti's current life. That Devahuti is married to a sage like Kardama Muni, but she did not utilize Kardama Muni's association properly. Instead, wasted life in sense gratification and getting children, although that was also required. But she did what Devahuti said in chapter 23 was that she did not spend enough time on herself for self-realization in association of Kardama Muni. So it is this life, and she wasted this life, and it is Devahuti herself saying.
Got it. Thank you.
Rest of you? Dipanshu Prabhu, verse 4, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Verse 4. The personality of Godhead, being worshipped by you, will spread my name and fame. He will vanquish the knot of your heart by becoming your son and teaching knowledge of Brahman. Purport. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes to disseminate spiritual knowledge for the benefit of all people, he generally descends as the son of a devotee, being pleased by the devotee's devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the father of everyone. Therefore, no one is his father, but by his inconceivable energy, he accepts some of the devotees as his parents and descendants. It is explained here that spiritual knowledge vanquishes the knot of the heart. Matter and spirit are knotted by the false ego. This identification of oneself with matter, which is called Hridaya Granthi, exists for all conditioned soul, and it becomes more and more tightened when there is too much affection for sex life. The explanation was given by Lord Rishabh to his sons that this material world is an atmosphere of attraction between male and female. That attraction takes the shape of a knot in the heart, and by the material affection, it becomes still more tight. For people who hanker after material possessions, society, friendship, and love, this knot of affection becomes very strong. It is only by Brahma Bhavana, the instruction by which spiritual knowledge is enhanced, that the knot in the heart is cut to pieces. No material weapon is needed to cut this knot, but it requires bona fide spiritual instructions. Kardama Muni instructed his wife Devahuti that the Lord would appear as a son and disseminate spiritual knowledge to cut the knot of material identification.
So false ego knots matter and spirit together. So this reference about Rishabdev is coming from Canto 5, Chapter 5. It's a pretty important chapter and pretty important series of verses where Prabhupada has more than 20 some lectures for those 4 or 5 verses about Rishabdev's instruction. Rishabdev says that affection between male and female becomes the knot. And by increasing children, the knot becomes tighter and will become difficult to untie that knot. Only by devotee association and by strong chastising words of a Vaishnava, just like Vidura chastised Dhritarashtra, can this knot be cut down. So Lord Kapila, as the son of Kardamuni and Devahuti, will speak spiritual knowledge, specifically Sankhya, by which Devahuti, your knot will be cut. That's what Kardama Muni is saying to Devahuti. So Shivangi's question from last class, whether Kardama Muni is spiritual master. So last line in verse number 4 purport says Kardama Muni instructs his wife. So instruct. And this point will get further clarified in verse number 5. We'll soon read that the husband can be the spiritual master, but it's the instructing spiritual master. Questions, comments, realizations on the first 4 verses, first part?
So Prabhuji, then Lord Kapila is her actual spiritual master, that the Diksha one?
So it should be correct. It doesn't specifically say in Bhagavatam in this section. But based on the discussion, based on how Lord Kapila speaks the whole Kapila Siksha to Devahuti, it is obvious. It's not said specifically, but it is obvious that Lord Kapila is the Diksha Guru or the initiating spiritual master of Devahuti.
Prabhuji, one more follow-up question. So when Krishna comes as Lord Kapila, like it's only for the purpose of giving instructions. It's not to enjoy any pastimes or
You are correct.
like that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, you are correct. Which is coming up in discussion in this chapter, that Lord Kapila came or appeared for this specific purpose of speaking Sankhya Yoga, and it's coming up in a 1 or 2 verse now, that what is the purpose of Lord Kapila's appearance. The purpose was this Kapila Siksha, which is there from chapter 25 to 33. So rest of Canto 3 from chapter 25 to 33 is all about Kapila Siksha and are pretty heavy chapters. And why Lord Kapila appeared? Yes, of course, to fulfill the promise of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, that he will appear their son. He will deliver the knowledge first to Devahuti, and then Lord Kapila will travel for preaching endeavor throughout the world to preach this same philosophy. Now, we'll have this discussion very soon. I'm just repeating ahead of time that Sankhya Yoga is generally theoretical knowledge. It's jnana. But Prabhupada goes on to explain in the chapter that we will be covering today and the verses today, that Sankhya Yoga is actually also devotional service, which is also explained in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, that Gyan Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, not Bhakti Yoga, but Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga at its highest level are one and the same, because the goal is same of attaining liberation. Prabhupada goes on to explain that the Sankhya Yoga that Lord Kapila is explaining in this Canto 3 from this point onwards is devotional service. And the main reason about Sankhya Yoga, why Lord Kapila appeared, is that everybody is in bodily concept of life. So this discussion about not being tied, meaning the attachment creates this knot in the heart. This Sankhya Yoga is the starting point that one understands that I am not this body, and it leads to devotional service. Therefore, Prabhupada goes on to explain that this Sankhya philosophy that Lord Kapila is explaining is actually devotional service. Shivangi, a little longer answer than what you were expecting.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good. And all this discussion is coming up. I did summarize, and just because Shivangi raised the question at the right time, but it's anyway coming up. Rest of you on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So part 2 is verses 5 to 9, the appearance of Lord Kapila. Gopal Prabhu, verse 5, translation and full purport. Gopal Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu. I think there was a problem in unmuting. Now I muted. Text, Hare Krishna, text 5, translation. Sri Maitreya said, Devabhuti was fully faithful and respectful toward the direction of her husband, Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis, or generators of human beings in the universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. Purport. This is the process of spiritual realization. One has to receive instruction from a bona fide spiritual master. Kardama Muni was Devabhuti's husband, but because he instructed her on how to achieve spiritual perfection, he naturally became her spiritual master also. There are many instances wherein the husband becomes the spiritual master. Lord Shiva also is the spiritual master of his consort, Parvati. The husband should be so enlightened that he should become the spiritual master of his wife in order to enlighten her in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. Generally, Stree or woman is less intelligent than man. Therefore, if the husband is intelligent enough, the woman gets a greater opportunity for spiritual enlightenment. Here it is clearly said, Samyak Shraddha, that with great faith one should receive knowledge from the spiritual master and with great faith execute the performance of service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita has especially stressed the instruction of the spiritual master. One should accept the instruction of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. Whether one is liberated or not liberated, one should execute the instruction of the spiritual master with great faith. It is also stated that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. One does not have to seek the Lord outside. He is already there. One simply has to concentrate on one's worship in good faith as instructed by the bona fide spiritual master, and one's efforts will come out successfully. It is also clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not appear as an ordinary child. He appears as he is. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, he appears by his own internal potency, Atma Maya, and he appears. He appears when pleased by the worship of a devotee. A devotee may ask the Lord to appear as her son. The Lord is already sitting within the heart. And if he comes out from the body of a devotee, it does not mean that the particular woman becomes his mother in the material sense. He is always there, but in order to please his devotee, he appears as her son. Hare Krishna.
So Shivangi, your point from previous class is directly there in the purport we read in verse number 5, that Kardama Muni as the husband was instructing spiritual master of Devahuti, and the other example of Shiva is also given. An important point explained here is that we discussed earlier also, that whether one is liberated or not, one should execute spiritual master's instructions. Continue to listen and obey the order of spiritual master. And this appearance of Lord Kapila from Devahuti's womb is described very nicely in the last part of the purport, that in order to please the devotee, the Lord appears as the Son. Lord is Abhigyana and Swarat, which we have discussed in 1.1.1. He is completely independent. So just because the Lord appeared from the woman does not make that particular woman, here Devahuti in the example, in the material sense. No. Lord is Abhigyana and Swarat. He is completely independent. Everybody on the same page? And Shivangi, you got a lot of your questions answered?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Very good. Very good inquiries.
Also, isn't it not a lot of pressure on the husband, just like in a practical sense, that he has to become a spiritual master of the wife? Is it not a lot of responsibility?
It definitely is a lot of responsibility. So it's not just instructing spiritual master, but Prabhupada has said many places that the service of a spiritual master, meaning the initiating spiritual master, is no ordinary service. And Prabhupada has said that, say, when you and I, we all chant, we are chanting for ourselves. Yes, say when we are chanting loud, the insects and the plants and trees also listen. But largely our chanting is mainly for our own self. But spiritual master who takes up this service to deliver his disciples, Prabhupada said that's a different level of service, because he's doing the service for somebody else. So when spiritual master chants, or spiritual master engages the disciple in service, or spiritual master initiates the disciple, spiritual master is taking a lot of pain, but it is all for the benefit of the disciple. So definitely correct realization, it is a very great responsibility where the husband takes up the role of an instructing spiritual master, or even the actual spiritual master when he's the Diksha Guru. Shivangi?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I seek one clarification.
Mhm.
Maya means illusion. Atma Maya means God is in not in Maya form. Can you elaborate on that for better understanding?
Where are you reading it from?
Now you just now said his own internal potency, Atma Maya.
Yeah.
He appears by his own internal potency.
Yeah, so that Atma, yeah, I see it in the purport for verse number 5 towards the end. So it says internal potency, that Maya generally refers to external energy, but here it's not referring to Maya. Here it says Atma Maya. This is internal potency. This is Yog Maya. And Krishna appears through his internal potency, through his Yog Maya in the material world. Uncle?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good. Everybody has very good inquiries. Thank you all for your inquiries. Your inquiries are your mercy on me that I get to speak Krishna Katha because of your inquiries. Thank you again. Everybody, questions, comments, realizations?
By motivating us to ask inquiries, you are enhancing your knowledge of Krishna Katha. Thank you.
All glories are always for Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. I'm only repeating. So all your inquiries, you'll be funny that how do I know all these answers? I don't know the answers. I attend these classes for before giving the class to you all, and I'm only repeating what I have heard. The questions that you ask are actually being asked by other devotees also, like where I study Srimad Bhagavatam class. Very much similar questions devotees ask, and I'm only repeating the answers that my Siksha Guru, who is teaching me Srimad Bhagavatam, gives the answers. And of course, my instructing spiritual master also instructs from within and through his lectures and in person. That's all. I'm just repeating. I'm not doing anything else.
But you are blessed with the mercy of the Lord, a recall value, which I don't have.
Yeah, you all are blessed. Otherwise, you won't be here. Srila Prabhupada said that somebody who's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra or reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and other scriptures, Krishna's mercy is already there. Otherwise, you will not be here. I have given the example many times that there are people living across from the temple. They have never entered the temple. They have never taken the prasad. I have myself spoken to some of them, but they don't have the mercy. Therefore, they never enter the temple, never get the prasad. Okay. Verses 6 to 9 are straightforward verses. Let's see. Mother Chandra Aunty, verse 6 to 9 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 6. After many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudana, the killer of the demon Madhu, having entered the semen of Kardama, appeared in Devahuti just as fire comes from the wood in a sacrifice. Text 8. At the time of his descent on earth, demigods in the form of raining clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, sang the glories of the Lord, while the celestial dancing girls, known as Apsara, danced in joyful ecstasy. Text 9. Brahma, the firstborn, born living being, went along with...
Mother Chandra Aunty, verse 8 translation also.
Sorry. Translation. At the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods flying freely in the sky showered flowers, all the directions, all the water, and everyone's mind became very satisfied. Text 9. Brahma, the firstborn living being, went along with the Maharishi and other sages to the place of Kardama's hermitage, which was surrounded by the river Saraswati.
Questions, comments, realizations on part 2, the appearance of Lord Kapila. Pretty straightforward. Okay. So part 3 is verses 10 to 19. Brahmaji glorifies Kardama, Devahuti, and Lord Kapila. So Brahmaji glorifies Kardama Muni that I am pleased with your activities. You have faithfully obeyed my instructions and I bless you. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has already appeared and he will be known as Lord Kapila. Brahmaji explains Lord Kapila's future activities, that Lord Kapila will enlighten both you, Kardama, and Devahuti. He will liberate both you, Kardama, and Devahuti, that you both will go back home to Godhead in this life itself. Uncle, verse 10, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Verse 10, translation. Maitreya continued, O killer of the enemy, the unborn Lord Brahma, who is almost independent in acquiring knowledge, could understand that a portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his quality of pure existence, had appeared in the womb of Devahuti just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga. In purport, in Bhagavad Gita, the 15th chapter, it is stated that Lord himself is the compiler of Vedanta Sutra and he is the perfect knower of Vedanta Sutra. Similarly, Sankhya philosophy is compiled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his appearance as Kapila. There is an imitation Kapila who has Sankhya philosophical system, but Kapila, the incarnation of God, is different from that Kapila. Kapila, the son of Kardama Muni, in his system of Sankhya philosophy, very explicitly explained not only the material world, but also the spiritual world. Brahma could understand this fact because he is Swarat, almost independent in receiving knowledge. He is called Swarat because he did not go to any school or college to learn, but learned everything from within, because Brahma is the first living creature within this universe. He had no teacher. His teacher was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, who is seated in the heart of every living creature. Brahma acquired knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord within the heart. Therefore, he is sometimes called Swarat and Aja. Another important point is stated here. Satvinam Sena, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, he brings with him all his paraphernalia of Vaikuntha. Therefore, his name, his form, his quality, his paraphernalia, and his entrudes all belong to the transcendental world. Real goodness is in the transcendental world. Here in the material world, the quality of goodness is not pure. Goodness may exist, but there must also be some tinges of passion and ignorance. In the spiritual world, the unalloyed quality of goodness prevails. There, the quality of goodness is called Sudha Sattva, pure goodness. Another name for Sudha Sattva is Vasudeva, because God is born from Vasudeva. Another meaning is that when one is purely situated in the qualities of goodness, he can understand the form, name, quality, paraphernalia, and entourage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Amsena also indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, appeared as Kapildeva in a portion of his portion. God expands either as Kala or as Amsa. Amsa means direct expansion, and Kala means expansion of the expansion. There is no difference between the expansion of the expansion, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly, as there is no difference between one candle and another, but still candle from which the others are lit is called the original. Krishna is therefore called Parabrahman, or the ultimate God and cause of all causes. Hare Krishna.
So Brahmaji appeared and worshipped Lord Kapila, as well as Brahmaji spoke to Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So in front of the Lord, Brahmaji also glorified Lord's devotees, because Brahmaji knows the trick to glorify devotee. Only then the Lord is pleased. So Dipanshu Prabhu's question gets answered here and in upcoming verses also, that nowhere it is mentioned that Lord Kapila appeared as a child. There are no childhood pastimes of the Lord, of Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila appeared as a sage. Therefore, in upcoming verses, we'll discuss that Kardama Muni took Lord Kapila into a corner and spoke to Lord Kapila, as well as offered prayers to Lord Kapila. And then Lord Kapila also speaks back to Kardama Muni. The Lord Kapila not only speaks, but also blesses Kardama Muni. Questions, comments, realizations? Mother Jija, verse 12, translation and purport.
11, Prabhuji.
12, translation and purport.
Lord Brahma said, "My dear Kardama, since you have completely accepted my instructions without duplicity, showing them proper respect, you have worshipped me properly. Whatever instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me." Purport. Lord Brahma, as the first living entity within the universe, is supposed to be the spiritual master of everyone, and he is alone the father, the creator of all beings. Kadama Muni is one of the Prajapati, or creator of the living entities, and he is also a son of Brahma. Brahma praises Kardama because he carried out the order of the spiritual master in toto and without cheating. A conditioned soul is in the material world has the disqualification of cheating. He has 4 disqualifications. He is sure to commit mistakes. He is sure to be illusioned. He is prone to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. But if one carries out the order of the spiritual master by disciplined succession or the parampara system, he overcomes the 4 defects. Therefore, knowledge received from the bona fide spiritual master is not cheating. Any other knowledge which is manufactured by the conditioned soul is cheating only. Brahma knew well that Kadama Muni exactly carried out the instruction received from him, and that he actually honored his spiritual master. To honor the spiritual master means to carry out the instruction word for word. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mother Jija was reminding me, but I forgot that we missed verse 11. So 11. I will read verse 11 translation, that after worshipping the Supreme Lord with gladdened senses and a pure heart for his intended activities as an incarnation, Brahma spoke as follows to Kardama and Devahuti. Thank you. So from verse number 12, translation and purport, we just read that Brahmaji says to Kardama Muni that you have given me great honor and I am proud of you. So this is how a disciple should behave, and this gives honor to the spiritual master. Brahmaji says, you Kardama are perfect disciple. I am pleased with you that without any cheating, you fulfilled all my orders. And the last line says, to honor spiritual master means to carry out the instructions of spiritual master word for word. Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. Shalini, verse number 13 translation.
Hare Krishna, text 13. Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or the spiritual master with due deference, saying, yes, sir. Hare Krishna.
So important explanation here is that one should not argue with spiritual master that I cannot carry out. Now, argue means it's okay to have a discussion with your spiritual master that I don't understand, please explain. It's just that when spiritual master gives an order and you say, no, I cannot carry it out, that's what is being explained here. Because when the spiritual master gives instructions, he also gives the ability with it. So an example is given of Prahlad Maharaj, that Prahlad Maharaj was respectful to his father Hiranyakashipu. But if Hiranyakashipu says something against scriptures, against the Lord, then he does not have to follow. Otherwise, Prahlad Maharaj continued to maintain respect for his father, even though his father was a demon. And Prahlad Maharaj followed Hiranyakashipu's order when Hiranyakashipu sent Prahlad Maharaj to Gurukul. So Prahlad Maharaj was not interested in dharma, artha, kama. Rather, he was interested in devotional service. Still, Prahlad Maharaj followed the instructions of his father to go to Gurukul. So the first birth is with our birth-giving father, biological father, and the second birth is by the spiritual master when the spiritual master initiates the disciple. Questions, comments, realizations? Shalini, continue 14 and 15 translations.
Hare Krishna, text 14. Lord Brahma then praised Kardama Muni's 9 daughters, saying, all your thin-waisted daughters are certainly very chaste. I am sure they will increase this creation by their own descendants in various ways. Text 15. Therefore today, please give away your daughters to the foremost of the sages, with due regard for the girls' temperaments and likings, and thereby spread your fame all over the universe. Text 16. O Kardama.
So Brahmaji also glorifies the daughters. Brahmaji said, I have brought the sages with me. These sages are Brahmaji's sons. Hence, get the daughters married to these sages. In the purport, Prabhupada explains about astrology that today, not just today, but for many years, marriage is based on how good the boy and the girl look, basically based on sex satisfaction desires. But the Vedic way is the guna way, meaning the character, the abilities. Means what nature, whether one is with divine quality or demoniac quality, is how marriage is fixed. Prabhupada's purport is pretty heavy on these points. Actually, we can read the purport also. We will read shortly. That Prabhupada explains that right now everybody is getting married like cats and dogs. So it's pretty heavy purport. So let's read. Shalini will read verse number 15 purport.
Hare Krishna. The 9 principal rishis or sages are Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Veshishta, and Atharva. All these rishis are most important, and Brahma desired that the 9 daughters already born of Kardama Muni be handed over to them. Here 2 words are used very significantly, Yatha Silam and Yatha Ruchi. The daughters should be handed over to the respective rishis, not blindly, but according to the combination of character and taste. That is the art of combining a man and woman. Man and woman should not be united simply on consideration of sex life. There are many other considerations, especially character and taste. If the taste and character differ between the man and woman, their combination will be unhappy. Even about 40 years ago, in Indian marriages, the taste and character of the boy and the girls were first of all matched, and then they were allowed to marry. This was done under the direction of the respective parents. The parents used to astrologically determine the character and tastes of the boy and girl. When they corresponded, the match was selected. The girl and this boy are just suitable, and they should be married. Other considerations were less important. The same system was also advised in the beginning of the creation by Brahma. Your daughters should be handed over to the rishis according to taste and character. Although, according to astrological calculations, a person is classified according to whether he belongs to the godly or demoniac quality. In that way, the spouse was selected. A girl of godly quality should be handed over to a boy of godly quality. A girl of demoniac quality should be handed over to a boy of demoniac quality. Then they will be happy. But if the girl is demoniac and the boy is godly, then the combination is incompatible. They cannot be happy in such a marriage. At the present moment, because boys and girls are not married according to the quality and character, most marriages are unhappy and there is divorce. It is foretold in the 12th canto of Srimad of Bhagavatam that in this age of Kali, married life will be accepted on the consideration of sex only. When the boy and girl are pleased in sex, they get married, and when there is deficiency in sex, they separate. That is not actual marriage, but a combination of men and women like cats and dogs. Therefore, the children produced in the modern age are not exactly human beings. Human beings must be twice born. A child is first born of a good father and mother, and then he is born again of the spiritual master and the Vedas. The first mother and father bring about his birth into the world, then the spiritual master and the Vedas become his second father and mother. According to the Vedic system of marriage, for producing children, every man and woman was enlightened in spiritual knowledge, and at the time of their combination to produce the child, everything was scrutinizingly and scientifically done. Hare Krishna.
Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, I would like to share it is quoted 40 years ago, and it is true. 45 years ago, I had the privilege of going to astrologers for my sister's marriage, 3 sisters, and where I was ignorant of various things. Mechanically, I used to go, but the astrologer, Panikar, explained to me what is a match, why they are matching, and this is very relevant. Today, I realized that significance of that, in which I will quote only one sentence, that demoniac qualities and divine qualities, he used to explain in Rakshasa Guna. They were saying which is demonic.
Yeah.
So matching, etc., very relevant, and I really appreciate that. And I have gone by his advice, and that has worked very well. Thank you.
Yeah, read the Open Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10. What's the title of Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10? Anybody wants to read? Canto 2, Chapter 10. What's the title? Anybody? Somebody look up Canto 2, Chapter 10.
Prabhuji, the cosmic manifestation.
No. Canto 2,
Bhagavatam is the
Chapter
answer to all the
10.
questions. Canto 2, Chapter 10, I am reading, Prabhuji. Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions.
Yeah, Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. What Uncle was explaining, Bhagavatam already has everything that we need. But Dipanshu Prabhu was explaining the cosmic manifestation. That's the title of Canto 2. Okay, very good. Shivangi, verse 16, 17, translation.
Hare Krishna. O Kadama, I know that the original Supreme Personality of Godhead has now appeared as an incarnation by his internal energy. He is the bestower of all that is desired by the living entities, and he has now assumed the body of Kapila Muni. By mystic yoga and a practical application of knowledge from the scriptures, Kapila Muni, who is characterized by his golden hair, his eyes just like lotus petals, and his lotus feet, which bear the marks of lotus flowers, will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in this material world. Hare Krishna.
Lord Kapila wants to cut the hard knot of rooted desires and deep-rooted desires for work by speaking the transcendental Sankhya Yoga. So I explained this point earlier, and it's explained in these purports here, that in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, Srila Prabhupada explains that there is no difference between Sankhya and devotional service because the goal is the same. So Sankhya means identifying the root, and devotional service means the root is now already identified. Now you are watering the root. So the aim of both Sankhya and devotional service process is the same. Srila Prabhupada explains that this knowledge of Sankhya is transcendental knowledge, just as it is explained in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4. Anybody remembers the title of Bhagavad Gita chapter 4? What is chapter 4 titled?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Transcendental knowledge, Prabhu.
Yeah, very good. So although this knowledge may be theoretical, but is still transcendental knowledge. And when you apply this transcendental knowledge, which application is in your own hands, then this jnana becomes vijnana, means realized knowledge. Shalini has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm sorry, there was a call, so I lost my internet. I had a question, Prabhu, when we were discussing about marriage earlier and marriage now. As far as whatever we've heard from, when we're discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, is that astrologically matching the horoscopes, in Kali Yuga is like because the Brahmanas who are there are not qualified. So then how does one match, Prabhu? Is the question.
So there's a purport in Srimad Bhagavatam where Prabhupada says that this astrology is a correct science. It is a valid science. It is just that no one is qualified right now in Kali Yuga to properly explain this science. Therefore, when you go to astrologers, one astrologer will say one thing and the other will say something different, although there may be some points common. So the answer to Shalini's question is you go to a Vaishnava spiritual master. So in ISKCON, there are a few devotees who actually have also knowledge of astrology. There are few. There's one in Mayapur. One of my Siksha Guru in the Bhagavatam class explained that there is this one devotee in Mayapur who does this astrology also as a service for the devotees, not for outside world. He's not taking money for, I mean, devotees may give him some Lakshmi also. But this ISKCON devotee who also knows astrology, he does this service. Or you can go to a spiritual master and spiritual master will give proper guidance, because spiritual masters are above Brahmana, they are Vaishnavas. Shalini?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Shivangi?
Prabhuji, just a question in verse 17, when it says the Lord will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work, is that referring to the karma kanda or something else?
Yeah, it's referring to Karma Kanda. That
Okay.
work. If you actually read the purport, it actually talks about the normal day-to-day work that we do, because we have the desire to work. We have the desire to enjoy. Therefore, we are working. Nobody goes to work just because they like work. I mean, the simple example is that tomorrow, if the employer says, I'm not going to pay you, but you continue to work, you are not going to go to work, because you are going there not because you enjoy work, but you are going to work because you enjoy the money that comes and you want to enjoy something from the money. So it definitely is referring to fruitative activities, which is karma kanda.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good. Chandran Prabhu, verse 18, 19 translations. Here, straightforward verses that Brahmaji now talks to Devahuti also.
Hare Krishna. Text 18. Lord Brahma then told Devahuti, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. Purport Prabhu, should I?
Translation 19.
Text 19. Your son will be the head of all the perfected souls. He will be approved by the acharyas expert in disseminating real knowledge. And among the people, he will be celebrated by the name Kapila. As a son of Devahuti, he will increase your faith.
So verse 19, where it says, your son will be head of the perfected souls. You read Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, Krishna says that among the perfected souls, I am Kapila. Krishna actually says this exact same point. But the words are pretty straightforward in terms of Brahmaji explaining that Lord Kapila will deliver Devahuti of the knots of ignorance and the doubts. And then he will travel all over. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, it is referred as Kaitaba is now within your womb. Kaitaba. Supreme Personal God who killed the demon Kaitaba.
Yeah, the demon Kaitaba, yeah.
Is right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kaitaba was a demon. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Kaitaba was a demon, not the Kaitaba himself, but demon Kaitaba.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, part 4 is verses 20 to 25. Departure of Brahmaji and the marriage of 9 daughters. These verses 20 to 25 are pretty straightforward verses. Dipanshu Prabhu, verse 20 translation.
Hare Krishna. Sri Maitreya said, After thus speaking to Kardama Muni and his wife Devhuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hansa, went back to the highest of the three planetary systems on his swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narada.
So Brahmaji brought all his sons, and when he went back, Brahmaji took Narad Muni and the four Kumaras with him, because Narad Muni and four Kumaras are Naishtaki Brahmacharis, and Brahmacharis are not supposed to attend marriage ceremony. Therefore, the remaining 9 sages, they stayed to get married to Kardama's daughter, but Narad Muni and the four Kumaras, they went back with Brahmaji. Mother Jija, 21 to 23 translations.
Text 21. O Vidura, after the departure of Brahma, Kardama Muni, having been ordered by Brahma, handed over his 9 daughters and instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world. Text 22 and 23. Kardama Muni handed over his daughter Kala to Maharishi and another daughter Anusuya to Atri. He delivered Shraddha to Angira and Havi Bhu to Pula Satya. He delivered Gati to Pulsha, the chaste Kriya to Krutu, Yati to Brigu, and Arundhati to Vashishta. Hare Krishna.
Okay, straightforward verses. Shalini, last 2 verses for today, 24, 25.
Hare Krishna, text 24. He delivered Santi to Atharva. Because of Santi, sacrificial ceremonies were well performed. Thus he got the foremost Brahmanas married, and he maintained them along with their wives. Text 25. Thus married, the sages took leave of Kardama and departed full of joy, each for his own hermitage. O Vidura. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Questions, comments, realizations?
I understand Sankhya philosophy was enunciated by the Lord Kapila.
Correct.
And would you please little elaborate Sankhya philosophy?
It's described at great length in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. Sankhya means the understanding to differentiate matter and spirit. It also comes up in all the later chapters from 25 to 33. It's a pretty detailed knowledge about how we get entangled in the body, how we are all born, the whole process within the womb, which even doctors may not know, as detailed as is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So essentially, Sankhya refers to the analytical study of matter and spirit. Uncle?
Thank you.
Mother Jija has anything to add?
No.
Okay. So the last part of the chapter we'll cover in our next class. So Shivangi, I'm sorry, last time you said some question about the marriage of daughters. I might have misunderstood your question, and therefore I was not able to answer properly, but you already got the answers from the verses you read by yourself. Thank you. But sorry for not understanding your question earlier properly.
That's okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, I was just asking if he married his daughters before he left and took sannyas, and he did. So thank you.
All right. So we will finish this chapter 24 at our next class on 4th of August. Then 11th, we will have the presentation. Now I understand Gopal Prabhu and Shalini will be traveling and will not be able to present. I'm hoping the rest of you can all please do the presentations. So rest of you are 8 devotees, and I will divide the chapters and the sections for 8 of you. Shalini, will you be able to post the Bhagavatam link after I update?
Yes, Prabhu, I will. I can do that.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
I will try to update the Google form for unit 12 with chapter divisions, and then then Shalini will send and you can populate your names. Is everybody okay for 11th to present? I understand Gopal and Shalini cannot present.
Yeah, Prabhuji, okay for me.
Yes, Prabhuji, okay for me
Yes,
also.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, so on the 18th of August, we will not have our class because my spiritual master will be in Toronto and we all will have a lot of services direct for him. So after the presentation on 11th of August, 18th, there is no class. And then from 25th August, we will start the new unit and chapter 25 onwards, which is from 25 to 33 is actually pretty heavy section of Canto 3, the actual Kapila Siksha chapters of Canto 3. Are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.